I believe in you. I believe in the simple things in everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you. So tell me, do you feel the way that I feel? Then tell me, would you give what I'm willing to give? And I believe in honesty, and I believe it's true. And I believe if you set it free, it will come back to you. And I believe that things were meant to really be. And I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.
Hey everybody, welcome to UCY.TV with Cancer Kickers. This is Vince Easley, and Cynthia Brooks joins me by telephone. Hi Cynthia.
Hello Charlie, how are you?
I'm great. Let me get a radio check in chat right there. Is that too much volume? Do I need to turn that down just a little bit?
I think. Yeah, I'm yeah.
I think you'll be all right. Hold on, let me turn this down. Okay, say something.
Hi everybody, welcome to Cancer Kickers.
Okay.
And I still have feedback.
Well, you may be getting it on the dadgummit. You may be getting it just on your phone. Let's see. We'll find out here in chat. So, anyways, hey, tonight we're going to talk about the Rife machine that was created by Royal Raymond Rife, and also some Tesla technology. And yeah, it looks like we're doing good, Cynthia. Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think I can. Excuse me. I think I can make it through. I just still a tiny bit of feedback, but I think all I'll do is just ignore my own voice that I'm hearing.
Okay. Great.
Well, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in again to Cancer Kickers, formerly known as iCureCancer.com. Thank you so much for hanging in with these techno things that we're doing. My extraordinary producer, he's out in the middle of nowhere, I guess. We have to try different tricks with technology, and so I really appreciate all of you guys out there hanging in with us at the top of the show as we try these different things to get the show out to you. And again, I just want to put out a huge thank you to Vincent, who is the producer extraordinaire, for all of the work that he's done. I so enjoy working with him, and I just want to thank him so much again. He's just an incredible, wonderful man, and I don't have enough nice things to say about him.
You're so sweet. You're a dear. I say you're so sweet. You're such a dear.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Helping out here at UCY and hosting the posts, and being able to produce for you. It's a great experience in life. That it's a chapter in my life that I've been adding to this last over a year now. So having great fun with it.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah, and I so appreciate your help, and I really love getting this information out there, which is what we're going to do today. I just once again want to extend a huge thank you to my dear friend Brian Jacob, who I'm staying with, who's an extraordinary actor and wonderful man. And thank you so much for all of your support. And thank you to all the Facebook friends who always hang in there no matter what kind of technical difficulties or if we're getting knocked off air or whatever. You guys all hang in with us and thank you so much for your support as well. And I just want to give a special shout out to my friend who actually kind of planted this idea in my mind. Another incredible actor, his name's Nicholas Zahn, and Nicholas Alexander Zahn. Just want to say a shout out to him. No doubt in my mind he's going to be a huge star. He's an incredible man, and he was asking me about the Rise Machine and kind of planted that seed. So thank you, Nick, for, just the seed that was planted, because a lot of you have been asking now. I did use a Rise Machine, treating myself with cancer. And for those people who don't know, going on 18 years now, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer, 2 years to live. If I didn't do chemo, radiation, and surgery, and even if I did those things, I wasn't guaranteed to live. I only had a 50-50 chance, so it completely rejected all of that, and it's still alternative medicine. What's interesting is that, and so I did a lot of different things. And I want to be really, really clear on this show. I'm going to tell you what I have read and what has been told to me, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what my experience is with it. Because now, what's kind of going on is so interesting is that, that old thing about the written word, especially with the internet now, we give so much credence to the written word, and if it says a Rise Machine is good on the internet, or if it says it's bad on the internet, we always have a tendency to believe that just because it's in writing, and that really has nothing. It's like you want to ask who's writing this. It didn't come straight from God, maybe God was I don't know. I haven't asked her yet.
I find this I find the Rise Machine very intriguing. I was just watching a video on that, or rewatching it. I've watched it more than a few times, but very fascinating. Back in the 30s, Royal Rife he did some studying. Now, what he found was trying to look at organisms. He couldn't use the the electron microscope because it killed the organisms.
Yeah, it's so funny because the World Health Society, I believe, they were talking about that as well, and that's where I learned it, is that, a lot of us, we believe that the Rise Machine that he created was his greatest accomplishment, but some people believe no, it was the light microscope that he created, because, as it's been said, when you're looking with the electronic microscope back in those days, it would be automatically, a high magnification would automatically kill the organism. And it was said to me, and it's kind of gross, so I'm going to say it anyway, when you're studying these organisms, it's kind of like picking up a dead dog off the side of the road and trying to discover what his personality was. And I know, but it's a good analogy, it's gross, so I'm sorry about that, but it makes it very clear. And Royal Rife was aware of this, so he developed a light microscope, 1,000 magnification, I believe it was at that time, which was no light microscope for that magnification. And once he did that, he could see the organism, he could see the live organism, and look at its personality and how it behaved, and so on and so on. And then once he realized that, then that's when he developed it. He realized that he could create a frequency that would destroy these organisms like cancer cells. If a healthy cell right next to it, it would leave it alone, because he realized, well, the important thing is that with this light microscope, sorry about that, I skipped over this, but what he realized with the light microscope was that the different cells, a cancer cell is a different color than a healthy cell. Color is everything. Color is frequency. So that's how he realized that a cancer cell is on a different frequency than a normal healthy cell. And that's how he developed the Rise Machine, which is a frequency machine. So it's always done what Western medicine wishes chemo could do, is that, destroy the disease cell, the one right next to it, leave it alone. Of course, chemo should do that. But that's what the Rise Machine does do. And if I've missed any points, Vincent, you want to elaborate on that point?
You bet. Now, take for instance a tuning fork. If you strike one fork and place it next to another fork of the same frequency, it will start vibrating as well. So that gives us an example of what we're talking about when we're talking vibrations. Now, our bodies itself have frequencies. Everything has frequencies, and it's just like you said, the light, of course, and that microscope that he developed, that's what it does. He broke down, and it's an amazing accomplishment. There's, I forget, a few hundred parts to it, but he takes and he catches his light, and he actually made this candle too, the candle power to light it but anyway, he's a great guy there. A lot of technology that he developed, and still that's the best one available today that does what it does. The electron microscope will magnify greater, but it, like it says, it just boom, it causes everything to rupture dead, upon turning the machine on.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yes, everything in this time, physical time, space reality, the chair you're looking at right now, your body, wherever you're listening to us, whether it's on iTunes or your computer, everything is on a vibration. That vibration is set on a separate frequency. So to understand frequency and vibration, you're understanding not just your own body, but you're understanding every physical thing around you. They're all set on some sort of vibration and frequency. And so, we're discovering this, although I think you already knew it, but finding a way to put a machine together that, seeing is believing, and that he started to demonstrate this and started demonstrating it. Now, I just real quickly, I want to get back to the computer stuff because there's a lot now on the internet about Royal Right, and I know a lot of you are going to get on there and Google. And after reading this, and read whatever you like, wherever your guidance system takes you, but make sure that you ask the question, who is writing this and what is their intention? Do that about anything, anytime. Now, it's kind of funny in a way, that I was diagnosed in 1996 with cancer, terminal cancer, and in a way it was a bit of a blessing to me and to complain because there wasn't much of an internet back then, and I didn't even have a computer, so I had to get in the car and drive to the physicist, and as I said before, I practiced to get coaching a physicist, and by the way, physicists are in direct disagreement about the body, just a little trivia, as what medicine is still insisting that the body is chemical first, electromagnetic second. Physicists say complete disagreement with that. They're saying, well, electromagnetic first, then we're chemical. So, and the chemicals are a little bit interesting because that's going to pull me over to the Tesla technology that I also use when I was curing myself of cancer. So anyway, I'm just saying whatever. So I didn't get on the computer, and so I had to drive to these different people, the spiritualists, the physicists, the scientists, and gather this information. And it was a lot easier when I had someone in front of me and listening to them talk and looking at their own paperwork and their research, and I could use more of my intuition about what is their intent behind it. So when you get on the computer, you can look up anything, and it's going to be, it could be, anything from a paper bag to, an ice cube. There's going to be, regardless of what the subject is, there's going to be people in support of it and people who are not in support of it. And so I'm saying all that just because still to this day there's a great deal of suppression of right and right technology. And so you decide for yourself. When you do this research, decide for yourself. But my point of view is that there is a lot of people who still want to suppress. And now I had personal experience with the suppression of the right technology. And back in my day, there was even more suppression. Now, here's the flip side of it. There's a ton of suppression because there was no internet. So there are some individuals that the last thing that they want is for you to know that you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on chemotherapy and that to maybe get a 50-50 chance that you might survive. There are some people who don't want you to know that. They don't want the information of real life out there, and the technology and the simplicity of it. Absolute simplicity is sparing yourself of many, many, many different diseases. Also, and also with the right machine, the one that, I use with the Tesla technology, anything that's not on healthy cell frequency is blasted, is killed. So, it's a great parasite, like a cleanser for parasites too. And I actually used it on my animals a little bit. And, as we know, as I talked before, my koala lived to be 22, my cat lived to be 27, and, and we love our little animals, but they really are. They're around a lot of parasites. And so I got someone making food, and I know that it really helps with life extension, because after all the years, of course, the parasites they don't have to, but they can build up, and then when your body is already taxed with something else, like a disease like cancer, it just adds more trouble and more fuel to the unwanted fire. And he told me to throw that in there as well. So also now, and hopefully, Vincent, you will correct me on my date. I know it was, the Mayo Clinic started rocking and rolling at first around this time in the 30s too. And I was looking at some papers in 1931, and you can find that on the computer. In 1931, I believe it made the San Diego front page about World Life, and he was getting very famous in the not just the scientific world, but the medical community as well. And there was, now this one I do not know for sure, because I think it was in 1934, but I wasn't there. If I was there in the previous life, and I was on different. But I did read about, this was before the Mayo Clinic started really realizing what a big money maker chemicals were about to be. So they were working with different chemicals to treat cancer. They had, I believe it was 100 people who they said we can no longer help them. They only had their diagnosis anywhere from a week to a month to live. We tried everything, nothing's working. They gave those patients World Life. World Life got every single one of them on the right machine and right technology, and all of them survived.
Well, so, I think we ought to be. Yeah. I think we ought to be very grateful for Al Gore for creating the internet and global warming, which segues to this right here. It should have been news that sent shockwaves throughout the industry, so large that even the establishment's media could not ignore them, spilling out onto every radio and news station in the country, if not the world. This comes from the Examiner.com. Feds finally released Brzezinski's cancer cure treatment. He was somebody else who was suppressed. We find a history of people that come out from the alternative, which is stupid to call it alternative, because it was the original, the holistic method as compared to the allopathic medicine of today. And that was a big battle when the AMA and all these interests, they created groups and whatnot that they were able to, like a mafia, which they are a mafia. They take over the industry. They set up the schools and they train doctors to prescribe. That's what basically most doctors are today, is just pushing pills. So, and other people like Dr. Carpenter, she was using lasers to treat tumors, and because she was using a food coloring to inject into the tumor. That way the heat from the laser only affected the tumor, because it would dissipate out of normal tissue more rapidly, leaving behind the dye inside the tumor, and applying this low temperature from a laser would destroy it. So, vitamin K, there's places there in Oklahoma been shut down, in San Diego. Knows a lot of examples of some of this that's happening, and of course you do too. So time and time again we see the industry, promote the sick care and not actual health care or cures.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's something interesting. Now, this comes from my personal experience. When Ian Jacqueline, big shout out to Ian Jacqueline, iCareChapter.com. Good guy, we love Ian. And when Ian was shooting his first documentary, I Cure Cancer, he was interviewing many Western medicine doctors who truly and sincerely were so unhappy. They were all at Boston Medical School, they were established MDs, are very unhappy with the healing rate of chemo and radiation, and they started getting interested in, alternative medicine. And many of those doctors, they treated their patients with rice machines, and had rice machines in their offices. And I believe it was 4, believe it or not, in the time of filming, 4 of those MDs, and this is the practice, people told me about this, before I even made that film, years before, that unfortunately what happens is the FDA, the FBI, and they go into these offices, these doctors' offices at gunpoint and raid the offices and confiscate all of their material under the guise of trying to see if they're really practicing proper medicine, what have you. But what they're really after is to close these doctors down and get those right machines. That was happening a lot 18 years ago. I can't remember what year being made after Campus, the first documentary. It was years and years later. But and by the way, just for fun, Ian got familiar with all of this because we were doing a play together, and he proposed me saying to my friend that I cured myself of cancer about 10 minutes, and he totally didn't believe me. He just thought I was the biggest liar on the planet. And he was challenging me, but good for him. He wanted to meet these physicists that I was working with, and the scientists and the spiritualists. And so he did a whole 180 and on his life, and so doing more research, and then now he's one of the kings of alternative medicine. I call him, definitely created an empire for lifecancer.com. So I can't remember if the year that the first one was made, the first one, because he's got several documentaries in the works now. But even at that time, like I said, it was years later, and this was still going on, for the MDs who went to alternative medicine that he interviewed, he went into their offices, and the film hadn't been released yet. So it wasn't like people were going, and he was still making it. So that's just an example. That's my personal experience of what's going on with the suppression of keeping this information hidden. And also, I was warned, I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but I was warned that there's also this FDA blacklist. And they're constantly looking around for people with huge successes in curing cancer alternatively. Back in my day, there was like a whole bureau keeping a feed on what they called right machine trafficking, and all this stuff about getting phone taps and things like that. Now, oddly enough, and if you want to know about this, you can contact me on Facebook, because I don't know if you want me to say his name on air, but there is a gentleman, oddly enough, who does make life machines. But when he was young, he used to work for that bureau that tapped phones illegally and all of this. He used to work there. So he was telling me about it as well. And he was claiming that this FDA blacklist is true. And I was warned if I talked too much publicly about the right machine, et cetera, I was going to get my lines tapped and things like that. I don't know 100% sure if my phone was tapped, but I do know I was getting very strange phone calls. Just talking in code and asking, leaving messages like, what kind of device do you have, blah, blah, blah. So that's just my personal experience. I didn't have any interaction with them, except for returning phone calls or what have you. But I just, again, I was really clear about this information. That whole personal experience, that I do think that there is, to some degree, I don't know what it is, but there is to some degree suppression to keep, the information from going globally as it should. Everybody should know what a right machine is. Everybody should have a right machine in their home, even just for, general health practices, toxins and parasites and nothing else. So just wanted to state that right there about that. And also, Ian Jackson, he actually interviewed a woman, and she wanted her face. I was just telling another friend about this. She did not want her face to be revealed. She wanted it shadowed. She was that concerned about the suppression, people were suppressing this information. So she was too afraid to have her face shown. But she did. She worked in an alternative medicine clinic. You can go to iTrueCancer.com, or you can go to the YouTube channel because Ian has conducted a full interview about politicians who are coming in the back, by the way, to that alternative medicine clinic. And she flat out actually asked one of the politicians, why is this not being made public? Why are you making this public? Because your wife was cured of cancer using alternative medicine. And pretty much this one particular, I guess, flat out said because the pharmaceutical funded by his campaign. So, you see, like, the rock and the hard place there that's going on, and once you understand that, then you'll understand why you don't know about a right machine, and you've never heard of one, and you get a clear idea about that. Now, also, I just want to get into the Tesla technology a little bit on that as well. Now, this I did use, and what's interesting is that Nikolai Tesla, he's incredible. He's a genius. He's an inventor. He's a scientist. And somebody posted me on Facebook, I really liked it, that a direct quote from Einstein that when someone in the media asked Einstein what does it feel like to be the smartest man on the planet, he goes, I don't know, ask Tesla. So, Tesla, I think maybe he might be, I don't know, he might be most famous for creating indirect optical currents that we use in this country, but he did so much. And he was looking at the argon-xenon elements and how they would work with the lymphatic system. So now that's the politicians. There's three too, because there was a senator, and his name was never revealed to me, and I don't know who he was. And I feel like this was way back in the 70s, maybe. He was doing some research on alternative medicine in rural life because his wife had breast cancer. And so he went underground and bought out a rice machine, and she was cured, just using a rice machine. So he started this whole underground movement in people's garages and hiring physicists to build rice machines. And it was kind of this interesting whole underground movement. He was funding all of this and building the rice machines and getting them out to the people who wanted them. And the one that I used was actually one of those from the garage back east somewhere, built in the garage back east, and that had both the Tesla and the rice incorporated in the same machine. So you have the new machine has the rice machine, and then it has the argon-xenon technology. And what they did, because an argon-xenon are elements, you can Google this to the elements out in the atmosphere, but we have those elements, trace elements in our bodies as well. And for some reason, in particular, there's a high degree in the lymph nodes of this. Tesla was studying this, and so he felt as though the lymphatic system, and I had cancer in some of my lymph nodes at all as well. And back in those days, it's like you have lymphoma, you've got a death sentence. That's so not true. He was looking for a way to stimulate the lymphatic system because the lymphatic system is part of your immune system. It's going to help you cure the cancer, and yet if the cancer itself, how is that with this person? How is this going to work? And so he came up with a way of putting argon and xenon, two different gas tubes, and they look like the whole sensory tubes, that you use the beakers, the old labs, the chemical labs. He found a way of capturing them inside those, and you put electronic glass to them, which is basically like you plug it into the machine and you plug it into the wall, and there's electronic glass. And you rub it on your lymph nodes, and it gives them, it gave them a spark, it gave them a blast, so that they were kind of working double time to cure the cancer, even if they had the cancer in them themselves. Even if the lymph node itself had cancer, it would still blast it. And then he felt that, the problem with the lymphatic system is that it doesn't have a pump like the heart does. So one of the physicists told me to do, which I did, and believe it or not, this physicist was claiming that one of the healthiest forms of exercise is just a trampoline or a mini track, just rebounding. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be gigantic jumps. It can just be little tiny jumps. And I know that at one point, I don't know if it's going to do this, but that was the first thing that they do. They used to do anyway when the astronauts would come back in through the atmosphere and come back home. They talk about mini tracks to sort of reestablish, because for a few moments, every few moments when you're jumping up, you're almost anti-gravity again. And the body has a way of realigning itself. But also that jumping and pounding is kind of circulating the lymphatic system, just very much like how your heart is pumping blood. So the combination of the two, and you're getting a super dose from your lymphatic system to help you heal your own body. And that was the Tesla. Some of the Tesla technology about curing cancer as well. And I know that some people never use the rice machine. I know some people are just using the argon-xenon technology and doing on energy plants and doing the rebounding and the anti-gravity work. And they were, that was a very high curing rate of cancer as well.
It's kind of sick how the sociopaths that make the rules in day-to-day operations of the world, with the frequencies that we get from smart meters and cell phones, and even the electrical current out of our in the houses that we live in, it's disruptive. There is that natural frequency, and that's Tesla. Now he was pulling that electricity, the magnetic field of the Earth, and capturing that, and being able to transmit electricity like that. So, we see case after case where all technology for, the good of mankind is suppressed. They buy it up or kill the guy off, destroy him somehow or another. But they've done a pretty fantastic job of suppressing all technology to do with energy, with medicine, and it's a terrible system that we live in.
Well, but I do think it's getting better. Like I said, 18 years ago, everybody thought I was, initially I told that I was taking probiotics. First of all, they didn't know what they were. And they thought I was insane. Now look today. Probiotics are everywhere. They're even putting them in douche. I don't know what I agree with, but, it's absolutely in everything. So the education, you just got to keep, putting it on and getting the information out there. And it's getting more and more difficult to suppress now, especially with things like UCY. And we've gotten knocked off the earth sometimes, but yet, we keep coming back. And so I've always felt the greatest combative tool to the suppression was just do your best to get the information out there and educate the people and let people know that it is. And so they can decide for themselves to make an important decision about their own health. And it was coming around that time in the 30s. So much was going on then when, the Mayo Clinic did realize that billions and billions that they could make off of selling chemicals and everything across the board as far as chemicals. And at that time, billions of dollars won over, the technology and these geniuses, their inventions, and it dominated the newspapers as well. So, like I said, it's getting much better. So I just have to believe how many people ask me, where can I get a right machine? How can I get a right machine? Things like that. And also, I just have to say this point about the right machine. Also, there's a flood of them out there on if you Google it. And so I think you should be really, really careful. I always tell everyone, please check with me first before you buy one of the right machines, because it's exploded. So that tells you something. That tells you that some people know about this, a lot of people know about this, and there is a demand. If there's all these different now designs of right machines out there. So I look at that as a positive thing as well. And it's just really just a matter of, people educating themselves and trying to get as knowledgeable as they can and spread the word, because eventually there's just going to be too many of us. There's going to be too many to try to control.
Right.
Really, it's really the numbers.
And that's why there's such a step up on the assault on the population of the earth, I think. And this is a reminder, this segment of Cancer Kickers is brought to you by the douche, so fresh it'll blow your skirt up. You're in the wrong business. You should start writing ads for companies, I guess. I remember Bewitched as a kid, and Darren Stevens. That's what I really always wanted to do was advertising. Something fascinating. They say that money makes the world go round, but in all actuality, it is propaganda, what it used to be called. Now it's called public relations, and it was, of course, in between called advertising. So we see the evolution of the world, so I find that to be very fascinating. Yeah, definitely. Also, what I want to say that's interesting, too, is that, especially because Vinny, in particular, my producer here, Vinny, learns the terrible movies that I've done in my career. And, what's interesting is that I can't even remember, I think I might have been 22, and I did one of my first films, and it was, are we still there? Can you hear me guys? Yeah, we're here. I just realized that when I wasn't speaking, I could mute myself on this end. So I'm muting my phone and while you're talking. So it's probably a little better sound quality because of the background noise. Yeah, that's super. Yeah. I think when you do that, then I don't hear the feedback. Okay. Anyway, so yeah. Terrible movies that I did, one of the first movies I did.
and it was supposed to be a horror film, and the special effects were just so bad. They were so bad, but we were on a limited budget. We're all kids, and we're just doing the best that we can. But anyway, and it was, again, a group of college kids, and, you know, we go out to research, do some research, and then we stumbled upon this area in the middle of the forest, and there's a few creatures chasing us, and all of this business. And just on one of the breaks, when we were changing locations, one of the leads, she I don't know how the conversation, but I remember it like it happened a couple of years ago. We were just sitting out there, and we were waiting for them to light the set. And I don't know how this was brought up, but she was telling me about her mother, and her mother had breast cancer, and had stumbled upon a life machine. And this is a very different one now, and I'm not familiar with this type of life machine, but it was something, but I know a lot of people have used this kind, something about like you could put your feet on it. And then the frequency come up through your body, and she was telling me about that, and that her mother, in a very short time, just completely cured of breast cancer, and at that point had no reoccurrence. I thought it was so interesting, and I always felt like, I feel very endeared by Royal Life. I think he was an incredible man, and it's interesting, like, his spirit somehow found his way into my life experience at a very early time. So, you know, it was 10 years after that I was diagnosed with cancer. But it already, you know, sort of lit a fire in my mind about, like, well, what is this right machine? This is fascinating. She gave me a little bit to read, and again, this is way for the internet. She gave me a little bit to read, and it was fascinating to me. And, you know, I was trying to gather, and I went to the library and couldn't find much, and I was trying to gather as much information about this as I could. And it was interesting from that time to the time I was diagnosed with cancer. Royal Rice and technology, it just kept popping up, you know, in my experience. And then I would talk randomly with somebody else, and they were like, yeah, I kind of heard about that. It's really interesting that, you know, because of something so obscure, 10 years prior to using my diagnosis. So, and that kind of goes back to, like, there's all these different ways that the machines come, you know, that you can use the machines. And like I said, when you put your feet on, and some of them have, like, you can set them now on a million different, you know, frequencies for different things. And actually, a number of kinesiologists and chiropractic doctors asked me to come into their offices to try to figure out how to work their right machine. So it can be confusing, you know, once you get on the internet and you see all the different types and whatnot. But again, you can contact Ian Jacqueline on Facebook, or you can contact me on Facebook, and we have a couple of sources, and we can guide you in the right direction to machines themselves that I, you know, feel 100% confident that they are the good machines, and they do work, and work very well. Just in case you're wondering right now, anyone who's listening, like, well, how do I get one of these? And if I order it off the internet, how do I know I'm getting, you know, the right technology? I think there have been, like I said, some lesser machines now that are on the market that I don't know that they're really capturing the exact frequency as they should. But there's a lot of good ones out there as well. So again, it's really about, you know, self-educating and learning about this and learning about these different companies that are putting out there. And then also I know that the Rice Society itself, I know that they sell the machines, and they were down in San Diego, so for a long, long time. I believe they're still down there, and that's another source that you could contact to try to get some information and about getting, you know, a really well-working right machine that properly emits the frequency that it's supposed to. Do you have anything to add to that video about all these different right machines out there?
No, I've not looked that closely to really understand what they're making there, because if you don't have the correct frequency, you have no idea what to treat. I mean, you have to know what's in there, whether it be a pathogen or a parasite, bacteria, virus, or whatever. You know, a person would have to, you know, what to target, know what to target, that is. So I don't fully understand how these machines that are being made and sold are, you know, I've not looked at how they're being used. You know, do they have I know they can't have a cure-all frequency because, and perhaps they just have a broad range or something. So, do you know how?
Yeah. Yes, there are. That's the one that I use. There is one that has, mine has a broad radius. So, and I think part of the confusion with the machines is sometimes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I feel like when they're getting into all of these different frequencies, it does get into confusion. And I also know, though, that there's some very good ones, particularly just because I had hands-on work with it, I saw it. Also working with aneurysms, a chiropractor, one of the chiropractors who asked me into his office to show him how to use this machine. This writing machine, once he purchased it for his wife who had an aneurysm and worried about more. And so I know that there's frequencies that also even deal with that. So when I'm talking about mostly, cancer and AIDS and most cancer, I would say, if you get a machine that has just like I use a broad blast radius, you're going to be, you're going to be taking care of an awful lot, like the cancer cells, parasites, toxins, things like that. But then we want to start getting into a wide range of different ones. And I think those machines with the different frequencies. So it's really, again, it's so individualized. So it's really about, why are you purchasing one machine, what's going on with you, and why, what is your challenge, and what do you, what are you looking to treat? Which is really the beauty of alternative medicine in the sense that, excuse me, that's the thing is that each one of us are so individualized. Every disorder, this disease is completely 100% individualized. None of us have the exact same body chemistry makeup. And if you don't agree with what I tell people, if you don't agree with me on that, then look at your hands.
Now let me ask you, how do you apply the frequency? How do you direct it? Is it, you just sit in front of it, or is there some type of wand or something that you use?
Okay. Well, that's great. That's a great question. Thank you. That's all the differentiating in the right machine. There is the one where you can see on it. The one that I use, it looks like there's a box, the main box, and it's kind of the size of, it's like a quarter of the size of a microwave. It's not that big. And in there it has the frequency, and coming out of it has a little tiny black box. And I place that on different places of my body. And then on the far side is two more little holes where you can plug in the Argon Xeon Tetra technology, the gas tube. You don't use them at the same time. And actually, that technology is extremely powerful. Like, you have to be very, very careful with the Argon Xeon tube because you could save yourself in such a massive detox. That's how powerful they are. So I only use the Argon Xeon tube for 5 minutes in the morning and sometimes for 5 minutes at night. And immediately after that, I can get on the mini trap for 15 minutes and drink loads and loads of water. Because once those parasites and cancer cells and whatnot are dead, you want them out of your body. Now, as far as when I was using the right machine, I could put that little, I'm very conservative, so I always say just try it first for 10 minutes just to see how your body is going to adjust to this frequency. But in all my years of experience, not one person has ever said to me, I felt like the right technology sent me into a detox. That it doesn't. It just kills the organisms and then you eliminate them. So there's that kind of machine where it's a little black box that you plug it into the bigger box and you just put it on different parts of your body and just let the work go.
Now, I would say that probably that this should be used in conjunction with a detox, and there's many different ways of doing that. Now, a good thing to be able to move stuff around your body so that it can be expelled is alternating between hot and cold in the shower. Real hot, real cold. It causes expansion and contraction of your blood cells and pumps everything around, moves it around, gets fresh blood into spots that are you're having problems with, and for revitalization there. Also, there's some like lemonade diet. You do a flush. This will do a liver, a kidney cleanse, gallbladder, and I mean it'll actually you can pass gallstones that they cut you open for and remove your appendix and all this and stuff. All these operations, but so yeah, in conjunction, for sure, huh?
Yeah, I actually have to do that. This is fascinating. A little bit off the subject, but right there. This was years and years after cancer. And I had moved to a new area. And he's not with us anymore, but one of the genius kinesiologists that was on my cancer team, and just to reiterate, once I stumbled upon all these geniuses, I was so lucky to do so, then I assembled them and would cross-reference. So I called them my cancer team, and had a top 5, and he was in the top 5, and he was absolutely brilliant. So I had moved, and I was experiencing some things that I had never experienced before. I was just like getting this, I wasn't feeling well, I was tired a lot, my joints were aching, so I go to see him, and he didn't even let me finish that. And he's like, yeah, do you have a bitter taste in your mouth? Yeah, and he said, yeah, and this is how brilliant he was, because I moved something now, different treat, and something was blooming. My gallbladder thought that it was sugar. Because, you've got an allergy going here. And I'm like, I'm not allergic to anything. I'm not allergic to anything. And he's like, what's happening is you're inhaling this pollen, and your gallbladder is interpreting it as sugar, and so you've got an overproduction of bile. And a lot of times when you have an overproduction of bile, that's when the gallstones or whatnot, start up. So it's really simple. It's a really simple, as far as I go, my whole motto is let's get from point A to point B as easily as possible. So one of the cures for that is I don't know why, but it works. She said to drink the cheapest kind of apple juice you can get. Don't get the stuff with all the folds and the fancy stuff, and don't go to the natural path and get the healthy, just the cheap old bargain basement apple juice. And then there's this other stuff that he said to take with it. And I can't remember the name of it. It's pretty caustic for a gallbladder flush, but it sounded so gross to me, you guys. I didn't do it. I didn't do that second part. But
the apple cider?
Yeah. I would just drink a lot of apple juice, cheap bargain brand apple juice, and wait for about an hour. And sure enough, it really worked. And I was tapping, and I was tapping gallstones. So I just felt like that was so genius. It was another one where I could have gone. I'm really not trying to kick down with Western medicine. I think that's great stuff going on. But I feel like in my heart, this is a classic example. If I went to a Western medicine doctor, I might have went to surgery or this, that, and the other. And it was just a simple allergy to some pollen out there that my body just did not understand and was not treating properly. And oddly enough, I moved, and it would only happen in the springtime. And so then 10 years later, I moved, and I realized in springtime it wasn't happening. And now I went back to an area in the San Fernando Valley, and sure enough, in the springtime, it picked up again. I was like, well, I know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So another just little example of alternative medicine and how easy it is to treat so many different things that a lot of times you can get into a lot of trouble with Western medicine and the medication for it, et cetera, et cetera.
I'd like to make a comment about juices. Now, be careful. A lot of times you're just getting, with corn syrup. And so with the apple cider, be sure that it's raw, it's organic, and it's expressed in the manner that they take the juice out. And also, when you look at anything like cranberry juice cocktail, it's a lot of times it's flavored, and then a lot of sugar water or corn syrup is added. It's important that you use it pure as you can. And that the apple juice, that I think was coupled with a cup of olive oil after 3 days or something, and then you roll around, and that oil causes your gallbladder to contract and expel this. And before that, it was like you started with the apple cider, then it went with lemon juice towards the end there, and that cut the sharp edges off the stones, and then the oil then causes you to expel them into your stool.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to say, just so you know, when you said Vinny, the but the cheapo bargain brand apple juice, that was specifically and only for gallbladder flush. I agree with you on the juicing always, and you know, that's another show about all the juicing that I did, you know, when I was curing myself of cancer. We didn't call it back then. Ian loves this one. He's always talking about this. We didn't talk about it back then as you know, getting your body more alkaline. The alkaline diet that's all over the place now, which is great. But that's not what we were calling it back then. We were just calling it, you know, cleansing the cells and detoxing off of so many blood carcasses and sugars and things like that. But when you're going to, you know, with that bargain brand apple juice that I'm talking about, that is just the exception. Absolutely, when you're juicing, then you want to get, you know, a great blender if you can get to one, and, you know, getting all of that down to juice, all of the organic down to juice, all the organic fruits and vegetables down to juice. And it was really funny because also, you know, this one specific physicist put me on that specific body diet, and he's also the one that introduced me to the supplements that I took then, the top of the line supplements as far as I'm concerned, and I still take them in, but he was the one that introduced them to me, and he was the one that, like, I actually saw with under the microscope. My own, I've talked about this before, and if you guys want me to join another show, I'll talk more about it, but I got to see it under the microscope. I actually got to see the antioxidant stimulating my white blood cells to move around. I saw the fat digester. He showed me what fat looks like in the blood. I actually saw with my own eyes, you know, the fat, what the fat looks like, and I saw the fat going into the cell where it's supposed to, and I actually saw that again with my own eyes. That's my life experience. Because, again, a big warning, you know, thank you so much, Cindy, for reminding me that big warning now, these supplements, most of them, the two things you want to ask about with supplements is, first, what is the source? You always want it from a food source. And the second one is it small enough, is those microorganisms small enough to get and penetrate the cell wall? And that's the big, what do I want to call it? That right now with a whole explosion of supplements, that's like the big prostitute, if you will, is that even though they're all organic and all this, they're still not small enough and they're not penetrating and not enough into the cell wall. Past the cell wall, into the cell where they can do the work. So I hope that clears up some confusion, definitely, on the supplement front. And, you know, also, as far as the juicing, I think I was drinking about, let's see, back in my day, a lot of people disagree with this. Back in my day, there was nothing wrong with fruit juice. A lot of people were saying no fruit juice because, or very little because of the sugar content. Well, back in my day, that was not the belief, and what the belief was never mix your fruits and your vegetables. Only apples. Only apples can be with vegetable juice. That's the only exception, and I followed that, you know, down to the wire. So I was drinking about 3 liters of fruit juice in the morning, early afternoon, and then late afternoon and evening, making nice 3 liters of vegetable juice, all organic, of course. And I could eat very little. I was really, oddly enough, I wasn't hungry because I was juicing so much, and then between that, drinking tons and tons of water, and taking a lot of different supplements. So, and people ask me, like, did you lose weight or anything? I actually, because this is funny, because I was eating so well, most of my diet was juice, and I was on the mini-gram, you know, twice a day. I actually gained a ton of muscle. Like, I was in really good shape. And people always ask me that when I tell them what my diet was. It was so funny because I just reread Dr. Bernardo, his alternatives and Dr. His protocol, and I was like, man, this is a picnic compared to what the diet that I was put on. I couldn't eat a lot of those things. So anyway, I'm looking at the time, and we're running out of time again. I'm having so much fun with Vinny, chatting away here. So before we get interrupted by the music, I just want to say to, if you need to contact me, you can contact me on Facebook, Cynthia Brooks Official, or I have another page that is Cynthia Brooks House of Healing, or you can type in House of Healing Cynthia Brooks. You can contact me. You'll be able to contact me on my website. It's minutes away from, you know, beginning up online. And also, always you can contact Ian, who's very knowledgeable on Facebook, or go to curecancer.com. There's a ton of information there, and I mean, it's an incredible website. You can get so much information there, and you can also watch a lot of footage from his movies as well.
Awesome.
Okay, well, okay, I didn't know if you were going to say something. I heard you coming back.
Hey, I'd like to remind everybody to stay tuned to UCY.TV. Coming up is a fairly new show here. It's called New Deal Renaissance, and it's a pretty good show. I really enjoy it. This is episode 12, and it's the Limits to Growth and the Population Bomb is titled. So they're going to trace back the beginnings also of the left-right paradigms back through history. So it proves to be an interesting show, I believe. And as always, big thank you and shout out to Jules for maintaining the network and for all the great hosts right here. There are so many great people here. And a shout out to JJ. He's emceeing Freedom Palooza right now, way out there on the East Coast. And I hope they didn't get rained on. I've been trying to keep up with their live feed over there, so far it looks pretty good from what I've seen. Now, I do got a big old cloud. I hope it's fixing to rain here, but not till we get off, because it might knock out the satellite. But, yeah, oh, it's nice out here. I just love the desert. But anyways, we also would like to remind everybody that this that we've talked about is our own personal experience, research, and information that we're sharing. We're not advising anybody as to anything to do with their health. That's up to you in what you choose to do. If you choose to discuss that with a medical professional, please do. And do your own research.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Just that disclaimer that, UCY TV is in no way, responsible or is telling anyone or giving medical advice, nor any of us here. We're sharing information in our life experience, and always seek whatever medical attention that you feel, you need, and whatever your guidance system and your health care practitioner as well. And once again, I just want to give a big thank you to Vincent, fabulous producer. And I would like to thank Jules as well and JJ, our other producer, for all of their help and especially providing this such an important forum for information to get out for people to share and learn and understand and just expand as they are as beings and take great care of themselves and their families and their loved ones. It's just really it's such an honor to be able to have this vehicle to be able to reach people and help people, and hopefully others, push the material forward and share their life experience and their information. Because again, like at the top of the show, this is really all about just getting the information out there so people can make an informed decision for themselves. And here's some of the success stories, because I'm not the only one, there's millions of us out there now. And it takes, once you realize how many people have healed themselves from all different things with alternative medicine, it really combats the fear element there, because you really can't make, and I know this from my life experience and my experience with cancer, you can't really make the greatest decision if you're in fear. It's really difficult. So all of these success stories are really important, and actually that's what I did, and that's in my book, is all of these different people that I contacted that had already cured themselves of cancer using all different kinds of alternative medicine, and the success stories, and it really expanded my consciousness, but it took the fear away, like, well, she did it, and he did it, and my friend's mother did it, and cure some of breast cancer, maybe I can do it too. So.
There we go. We're out.
I believe in angels, and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things and everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in